Good afternoon, this is Dr. Thomas Klein. Last time we talked about fear, narcophobia, opiophobia, and the fear of opiates is in the everyday populations. 50% of people who need them when they're dying are afraid to become addicted. And remember, if you've already had an opiate any time in your life and you didn't go to the moon, you did not addict, you're not going to ever addict. So we need to start telling this to people. If they're afraid to take them, say, oh, have you had it before? Yes. Were you okay? Did you start selling your sofa to buy more? No. Then you're okay. You can have all you want. And all you want means the doctors can titrate, which means they'll start you on a real low dose, a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more, until it works. So there's a big dishonest problem about data. You have deaths from opioids like heroin and benzodiazepines in addicts out in the street. They don't have doctors. They can't get insurance. They don't have doctors. So they learn from each other. And so there's lots of deaths out there by making pharmacological mistakes. For example, if you have a blood level of 100, let's say for your heroin, and you're doing okay, and suddenly you drink a lot of alcohol and die from an overdose, and you check the blood level, now it's 80. What happened? It's not just the narcotic. It's not just the opioid pain medicine. Heroin is an opioid pain medicine that was made illegal 100 years ago to stop heroin addiction. That didn't work too well. So there was a study done that National Pain Council sent over for me to look at. It was done by a fellow named Nabran Das Gupta, and he is at the University of North Carolina, down the street from where we are. And he looked at patients who were prescribed these medicines. That's different than people in the street. Even though they're taking the same thing, you can't use data from one to make assumptions about the other, and that's what's been done. Most of the data coming from CDC and PROP is based on data from heroin overdoses. The PDMP we talked about before, Prescription Drug Monitoring System out of Brandeis University, has an associated program called APRIS where they predict whether or not you're going to overdose and die based on data from Ohio of the same thing, of the addicted population. So when they looked at 10 million people, which is a huge study, they found out that there were 0.022% per year overdose deaths of patients who were prescribed opiates. Does that mean they died from the opiates? No, it means they died with the opiates. But you see what the assumption is because of narcophobia and fear. Oh, if they were taking opiates are bad drugs. They must have died from their opiates. Doctors are strung up when their patients die on their prescription opiates. And really, they died from other things while they were taking their opiates. So the death rate was 0.22%. So that means it's 22 people per 10,000, or 2 people per 1,000. 2 people per 1,000 out of all the thousands deaths were due to opiates. So it's very, very rare. You're not going to die from your opiates. Thank you and good evening.